So it was a bit much taking in this one gentleman's sort of life last night, and scary, quite frankly. But I got it through it, and cold. And I'm still a little chilled from yesterday, and ended up having a terrible sleep and a long morning and nightmares, again, I think. So, a little bit. So, but that's also a little bit of shock coming out of me too. So today we're going to try to settle down a bit better, have a good bath. The chill that I need to get out will come out in the first minute I get in the bath, if I get the temperature right. So, and then the second. Today's been pretty good. I've been sitting in the sun most of the day. So. And it's weird, like I just took a burp. I can tell my stomach and digestive system are actually settling down nicely, which was a little bit different than yesterday. Even though it was a really good day, I felt a tiny bit of reflux. So about this time of day. So not a long walking day, but actually it's a good hike home, quite frankly. And I won't spend every day at the cut when the weather changes, so I try to enjoy it. Only trouble is I really prefer more remote areas. It's just the cut is an exception. There's people around. They can stare. They don't really care if it's bothersome, and I just ignore them for the most part. But yeah. And that kind of brings up old shock, I think in past lives, humans have been quite menacing to me. Listening to that homeless man talk about, he says, people are casting spells on me, and I thought, Jesus, you get yourself sucked into the system. That's not so far off, He doesn't realize that as he's talking, there's a lot of negative energy coming off of him, but, so you can get yourself into as fair a bit of trouble as anyone might want to put you into, but there is a kind of digestive reflex to the social system, such as it is, and if you find yourself on the other side of it, if someone so much as thinks of you as homeless, or, I could take it as a credit that those homeless people, because I was standing, Jerry, came up near to me. They never would have normally, and I didn't have much to say to them, but you could tell me from the inside looking out, they may be stronger people than I first thought, and how they carry, And Jerry is strong. He's lived in his car for a long time, so he kind of deals with people. But he has problems with some of them, or some of them, I should say, have problems with him. Piss on his car or whatnot. There's some aggro there. Probably some positioning or posturing, and more on their part than his part, I think. And but still, it just goes to show that homeless people will present each other as many troubles as anyone else will present them. It's, you want to see the worst person to me? He's probably a woman my age who's unhappy, depressed, likes me, or did, and now wants to kill me. Because she works in some shit job. And because she saw me, talking maybe a little more jauntily to a woman half her age with 200 pounds less body weight, who has just a more affable way of coming across. And she'll never be able to reproduce that again because she's lost so much of that critical yin equilibrium that makes a woman feminine in the first place. And I'm so glad my mom never got fat, even though she has, it gives a feminine nature when you're like thin energy. We've been told by feminists that, about this thing called the Neolithic era, when the ideal woman was some fat woman with huge breasts. Who survives in the wild who's fat with huge breasts? If you look at native people and aboriginals around the world, these women are never fat, right? They're well fed, but they're not fat. A fat woman is a woman that's feeding on your people, The idea of the fat, rich, money bags guy from Monopoly, the banker or whatever, it's all fat and ugly. Doesn't move around enough. Doesn't roam around enough. I find thin people can be evil too, but Jesus. Is everything gonna be okay? Well, it doesn't seem. So let me renew. So you're telling me, if I say that it doesn't seem that your staff are very hospitable to me, you're telling me that's not true. Is that right? But there's something bad enough that you need to protect them from me. Is that right? That's the same guy I'd say if I didn't say hello. Like he doesn't like to say hello, so I'm not going to. That establishes a better equilibrium. Okay, a better day. All right. I don't think I saw him yesterday. Maybe I did. So, this t-shirt will get nice and sweaty. I'll trade up the other one when I get to the tree. Muddiness in people. So, yeah, I got to hear this homeless man talk and mutter to himself, get into various physical contortions, including turning around and talking to his Holy Father, acting like a street preacher, And that day, my mom had hired some movers, so of course I stayed to look around at things and help if necessary. And the one guy is a drunk, and he stinks, and he's drunk, and he's got cigarettes falling out of his head, and he's telling me his life story. He's telling my mom his life story. Oh my goodness. It's like all you have to do is move furniture. That's your job. But he's looking for friends, and that's cool too, He's an okay guy. It's just like you live your life, you don't always want to see that. You want to just, hello, My mom had some young movers a couple times, and hey, they had just a better attitude to life. They were healthier. And he's, at some point, it's okay to say they're not healthy. Kind of. And you're like, here you are among a throng of underachieving men, but I work hard every day. I don't have the support of a nice looking girl. I just have young girls just giving me nice energy, and that's all I want, nice energy. If someone just gives me nice energy, a young girl, it's like, that's cool, that's fine. I'm never going to have sex with them. I might think about it from time to time. I might feel like, hey, my mental and sex health requires that I think about a girl as though something even remotely to do with sex might apply to them. And that's good. That's healthy. Because I don't have anything that way in my life. I never have. So women need things, no doubt. And they think sometimes they can get them from me. But they don't really get what they want. And they don't get what they need. And they'll basically just get mad at the man for not giving them what they need. If they don't give him the least opportunity to give them what he wants to. I've tried offering things to women after they're already in a mode of taking, and they just don't even appreciate it, right? When you offer someone something who's already taking things from you, you're not really offering them anything. There's nothing to offer them. They're already taken enough from you. I had hippies in my house. And they take so much, there's really nothing left to offer them. And that concept of how human behavior can come off to someone as though you're just taking something from them, taking time, I might expect it from a homeless person to take a lot of extra time, right? And wasted time, to be sure, because, they're nowhere near a position where the best person for them to give them advice is already giving them, which is themselves. If they're talking to God in front of people, they're not really talking to themselves anymore. They've supplanted themselves. They just have a voice in their mind that tells them what to do. They're literally like a broken human. Broken. you know? And so happiness like you or I might want in this world will not be available to them because their mind doesn't work properly anymore. They've accepted too low a standard. Now, the difference with Jerry and why my energy will pick up talking about him, because he can interact with these people, but he went from a very small old car that he kept 5 years longer than it should have been because he just maintained it so well, living in it, to living in a higher priced minivan with tinted windows and cruise control. And his sister seems to have become a little more well-disposed toward him. And he lives basically by himself, hither and yon around here, and pops up every now and then at the park, where I almost always manage to avoid him. But he caught my energy yesterday. And I learned some interesting things about him. And I watched him with homeless people. I was kind of horrified that he just sort of goes on and talks to them about his life. And he just sees them as another person to talk to. And the homeless person is talking to him as though he's just another person to talk to. And they're sort of just talking at each other. And he's saying some things like, hey, you got to kind of, make your own decisions here and things. But, you'd still have to sit down with someone clinically and find out, where are you coming from? Like, you'd have to assess them, what's your intelligence? It's like your conversations with your father, let's just say they're personal. You keep that to yourself, right? But if that's a big part of your life, we'll set up a way for you to share that we call that your religion. And that's an important part of someone's life, and that's sacred. But when you're talking to people, you don't turn around and talk to your spirit guides or whatever, and then go around and give people the results of the conversation, because nobody's going to want to spend time with you. That's going to scare them, and you really probably don't need to do that. You can do it in your mind. You can walk away. Next time you see the person, you can talk to yourself, but your interest or your acceptance of another person only has to be provisional at any given time. You can change your mind. When you talk to a higher being of some kind and they say, hey, all right, you can talk to this person out loud to yourself while you're talking to them, it's basically saying, this isn't provisional anymore. My God says that you have a certain amount of my trust, regardless of who you are, I don't know you, or what you ever do. That's codependent at the very least, along with delusional, right? Everyone should only have a provisional respect and trust from you, unless you put them into some sort of higher echelon, or you were born with them and they were a mother and father, and someone who, whether they're good or not, have to be someone you trust, right? And at some point in life, you'll notice as a child, you kind of have to love or trust your parents and do what they say, no matter what, And so a lot of things happen in life that, as children grow and change, that are just matter of fact. In that squishy, tender area where humans might grow a sense of self-determination that isn't meant to be fixed on anything it's fixed upon, say financial life and independence, so it can escape from having no other real say in their life. It's like having a garden and saying that your tomatoes can only grow if they become useful to the tomato industry, that they want to be all kinds of other tomatoes, and you don't care, and so they keep it to themselves. The sun doesn't grow on things and say, hey, you can't do this and you can't grow there. Things kind of have to determine where they're going to grow, and you notice that left to their own devices, the leaves, the trees, and trillions of living things manage to get through the day without you ever telling them what to do, right? Why do humans need to be told what to do all the time? Why is that so complicated for people? Why do you think you need to tell me what to do all day? And I love this thing that I can go out at 50 today and do whatever I want, right? But I'm not doing whatever I want. I can't hop on a plane. I can't do this. I've essentially chosen this instead. I can't wait to generate more money, though. It's going to be fun. And then just, because I have nothing I need. The only thing I want money for, I passed that rock before. That's a rock of peace. The only thing I need money for would be for my children, or my mother and my children, my home. That's the only thing I need money for. I don't need it for anything else, right? I want my security to increase and to share that with other people. Part of the way that happens is by generating money. So I've accepted that, and I put that out there in nature. And Osila was there to me today, the great inner sacred energy of the sun. And just that wonderful facility that can exist between the feminine and the man energy of the earth and everything else in the fundamental principles of growth and regeneration and all that dotes upon it in every limb and letter thereof. That you don't really need a God. You need to be able to look at the warmth of the sun and say, I wanted something like that warmth from a father. I wanted or want something like that from a mother in all their perfect arrangement. That's not too much for a human to ask, but no religion seems to want to reply or to have anticipated the question. If it has, it's a very tyrannical interpreter, don't you think? So we're getting some work done today. I should upload these videos and yesterday's videos, which I will. There'll be a lot of flurry of uploading. I gotta piss. And my shirt is a little damp. And so now the sun is disappearing a bit. But we're gonna cross over the tracks down here. And then we will be a fair way to... Well, that's an interesting stone. It's got a really flat side where it's been chipped off of something. That's cool. Oh, I see. It's got kind of a black ghost. Like something coming out of the sea. I like that. It's like a raven. Oh God, I gotta piss. Oh shit, let's move on from this house. Oh, I'm gonna piss myself. Ooh, I almost pissed myself. My bladder caught it. Your strength is amazing, my lord. Don't make yourself laugh. Okay. See, there's nobody walking by me. I could feel the bear down by the cut. Okay. We've got something to do. We've got... Alright. So I know people up here. I've had very few people to deal with at all throughout the day. So I should be able to come home fairly people-free. I could even get some sushi if I want. I was kind of thrown off my wick by the sudden influx of homeless people into my life last night. The deer, right after I left the deer in the sunlight and walked across, it was like, I was walking my bare feet and the guy's like, oh, they sprayed the field with pesticides. That's how he greeted me. It's like, you should probably wash your feet. And I'm like, okay. I thought, well, okay, let's piss right now. You know what I mean? Let's do it. Let's get down. Dirty.